Today, a federal judge in Louisville raising concerns as he considers approving that police reform agreement between Metro government and the U.S. Department of Justice. In a lengthy hearing today, Judge Benjamin Beaton of Louisville asked attorneys whether a consent decree is really the best path forward. Isaiah Kim Martinez was in the courtroom, and Isaiah, Beaton is a Donald Trump appointee. If he vetoes this agreement, does that mean no federal oversight? Is it over?
Well, Doug, correct. I mean, essentially the consent decree at that point would be dead in the water, and here would be the next steps. The DOJ theoretically would then be forced to take Louisville to trial, which they've only done to 2 other cities they've investigated for pattern or practice violations. And with a new boss in the White House here in 7 days, it's very likely that would not be a priority. With President-elect Donald Trump taking office in a week, federal judge Benjamin Beaton, who he appointed, is raising concerns over, quote, racing to rubber stamp a reform agreement that'll impact LMPD's day-to-day. Beaton asking U.S. Department of Justice officials whether there is a less intrusive manner of resolving the dispute without judicial oversight of Louisville.
The biggest problem is that it's been so delayed, right? And so we're just happy to see some movement now.
Outside groups like the ACLU of Kentucky filing a brief in support of the judge approving the consent decree, set to guide LMPD procedures for the foreseeable future.
And you've heard, both sides agree that there is a need to make significant change to the police force here in Louisville. And we're hopeful that the judge will agree and enter this consent decree. And that's what the community wants.
Meanwhile, the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank,
I think it's on its last legs,
is calling on the judge to scrap the agreement altogether.
We're very pleased that the judge's questioning tracks very closely with our legal arguments. We expect that this thing will get tossed. Louisville will be safer as a result of it.
When asked by the judge to weigh the perceived impacts of a consent decree, Louisville Police Chief Paul Humphrey saying, quote, I believe some of these improvements we can get done more efficiently without a consent decree. The agreement requires a list of changes to LMPD's policies relating to excessive force, search warrants, and other areas to come into compliance with federal law. If approved, an independent monitor would measure progress and report back to the federal judge. No word yet on how long it'll take Judge Beaton to issue his decision. And we also heard the judge weigh arguments for and against Louisville's police union. Remember, just before the new year, they filed a motion to intervene in this case, saying the consent decree violates a number of terms in their collective bargaining agreement. We didn't get a timeline yet on when the judge will rule on that either. Doug.